Good morning, everybody. It's so good to be here with you. And I'm very blessed to be here. So I want to ask you, you know, I often ask a question. So, who of you are followers of Jesus? Just a quick hands up. Just give me a show of hands so I know who I'm talking to. Okay, great. So I want you to think back to when you made that decision to follow Jesus. So cast your mind back. You can close your eyes if you want to. Try and picture that. Where were you? Which town or city were you in? Were you in a building or outside? If it was a building, what was that building like? Was it perhaps a church? Was there a worship team there? If so, what was the worship like? Was somebody preaching the message? How did you feel about the message? What was the atmosphere like? Try and put yourself in that scene. How did you feel before you made that commitment to follow Jesus? And how did you feel after you made that commitment to follow Jesus? How many of you at that time thought about what it would mean to follow Jesus? What would be the implications of you following Jesus when you made that decision? Did you think about that? You don't have to put up your hand. But did you think about that at the time? Let's turn to God's Word. Matthew 8, verses 20 to 22. For those of you who've got Bibles here. Matthew 8, 20 to 22. Matthew 8, 20 to 22. Just give me a minute to get that. Okay. Now I'm reading from the New Living Translation. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he instructed his disciples to cross to the other side of the lake. Then one of the teachers of religious law said to him, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." But Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens to live in, and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place even to lay his head." Another of his disciples said, "Lord, first let me return home and bury my father." But Jesus told him, "Follow me now. Let the spiritually dead bury their own dead." When we make a big decision like this man was doing, to follow Jesus, sometimes we forget the context that we're in. Perhaps we don't have the opportunity, or we don't consciously think about the implications of that decision, what it would mean to follow Jesus. And perhaps least of all, we don't think about the cost of following him. In this particular text, I just want to let you know that a teacher was also known as a scribe. Now, a scribe was somebody who was very learned. They knew a lot about the Word of God. And like many of them in those days, they expected Jesus to actually be the king who would eventually overthrow the Roman government. And so here was this particular person thinking that maybe if he followed Jesus, he might have an important place in Jesus' future kingdom. And they believed, by the way, that it would come soon. They were not thinking about this eternity issue. They thought it was going to be in the here and now, when he overthrew the Roman government. So he was looking for potentially a position of importance. So one of the teachers there says, "I will follow you wherever you go." And then Jesus replies there. Let's remind ourselves, foxes have dens to live in, birds have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. The scribe was not considering the lifestyle that Jesus was calling him to. He had something else in mind. And don't we do the same sometimes when we say, "Lord, I will follow you," when we make that commitment? So perhaps also like the scribe, maybe at the time when you thought back to when you made that decision, were you perhaps also expecting something out of this new exciting relationship with Jesus? And maybe it was extremely practical, like relief from guilt, or relief from pain, or relief from sickness. Or maybe it was even material success, depending on the gospel that was being preached at that particular time. What was it that you were expecting from that relationship? And why did Jesus pick foxes and dens? I'm always astounded by the simplicity of Jesus' analogies, of his illustrations. And he tends to take things that are close at hand, that people can understand. But why did he pick this little phrase, foxes have dens to live in? You know, the safest place for a fox when they're under threat is their den. It's their home. It's where they can take refuge, their place of safety. And you know, today we live in a country where one of the biggest issues in South Africa today is the land issue. For those of you who follow the news, you'll know it's raising its attention levels again. But all you have to do is ask yourself, would I like to lose my home? So it's a big issue. It's a sensitive issue. And losing your home is a very, very crucial issue. So clearly our home is important to us. And Jesus knew this. Why did Jesus give the second example? Birds have nests. Now, I don't know if you know, I mean, Jenny's not here to validate this for me because she's the bird lover, but birds, they don't sleep in their nests. Birds can sleep pretty much anywhere. And you know, the safest place for a bird is not in the nest, it's actually on a branch. And some of them can be kind of in semi-sleep mode, but they're ready to take flight the moment they're under threat from a particular bird of prey. So why nests? They build nests so that they can go lay eggs and feed their young and keep their young warm, their babies warm. So Jesus knew, like us, don't mess with our children. Listen to Cheryl's heart this morning. When you lose your children or when something goes wrong, it touches deep in our heart. And Jesus knew this. He picks on two very, very important things in this particular text. So Jesus knew what we value in a very, very significant way. So are you prepared to give up what you value most to follow Jesus? You see, he's not asking us to give up our home and our children. He's not asking us to do that. He is saying, are you prepared to give up what you value most? We do need to weigh up what we value against what Jesus is asking us. And say, are we prepared to place this value, Jesus, higher than what's really close to our hearts? You see, sometimes what we value gets in the way of us following Jesus. Even just the way we look at those particular things. And so I don't want to look at a dramatic example like losing your children or your home. Let's look at a very easy example that I think we can all identify with, especially as we sit here in church this morning. It's a very real example. A few months ago, I asked the elders at a meeting, I said, you know, when you facilitating a meeting like this, like Di's doing, don't just pick on somebody to pray. Prepare them. Arrange beforehand. Say, Sandy, I'm going to ask you to pray for Nick this particular Sunday. Now, Sandy knows what's coming. And I said, and then you must also share that with the congregation. Because if I just pick on Sandy, she knows, she's prepared, and she prays for Nick, but somebody else sitting here says, whoa, next Sunday Doug might pick on me. And you know what? Sometimes they don't come back again. Because people don't like to be put on the spot. Now, I don't know if that's real for you. What's wrong with this picture? What's going on here? If the Holy Spirit lays it on the heart of the elder facilitating this particular meeting, that Jesus wants you to pray for somebody, surely we should do that. Without this nonsense. You see, sometimes we worry about, if we are asked, I don't know what goes through your head, but I guess what would go through my head is, Lord, I don't want to mess up here. Well, what is that? That's pride. Let's call it what it is. And you see, suddenly it gets in the way of me freely saying, Lord, I'm here to be used by you. And I'll take what comes. Now, I don't know if that starts to make you feel uncomfortable, but if it does, that's exactly what the scripture's talking about. What are you placing value on? So maybe a little thing that's so subtle called pride gets in the way. It's not the house, it's not the children. You see, Jesus is not saying, give up your house and your children. But he knows our lifestyle. And he knows what we value. And he also knows that these things can distract us. Then Jesus goes on to say, but the Son of Man has no place to even lay his head. And again, Jesus knows us so well here. You know, as we get closer to winter, and I promise you when I was preparing this, I didn't know there was going to change in temperature, so I'm speaking to the converted. But let me just share this with you. As winter comes along, you see, we're not going to lose our home. Please start praying about it. But when it gets really cold, and it's 5 degrees out there, and it's nice and warm in bed, and Jesus prompts you and says, hey, I want you to go and worship with your fellow brothers and sisters. Lord, it's a bit cold out there. How many of you have experienced that? Please don't put your hand up. I do not want to embarrass anybody. But these are real issues, and they get in the way of Jesus using you powerfully in a service. Or receiving from him through the word, like Jackson was saying. The word is alive, and we can receive from him today. Or sometimes we just got tired, and we've committed to do some kingdom stuff, and we can't do it because we're exhausted. So Jesus knows that each one of us have things in our lives that complicate our lives, that distract us from following him. So we say we're followers of Jesus, and we put up our hands like we did perhaps many years ago for some of us who committed our lives to him. But we don't think about the implications of when he asks us to do perhaps just a simple thing. And you know, we've been felt heavily laid on our heart to preach into a number of areas recently, particularly in this theme of living like Jesus wants us to live. So you'll have heard, those of you who've been here a few Sundays, you'll have heard that the theme come up there about attending church each week, about getting into a cell group, attending a cell group regularly, about having a quiet time, about being in prayer, about reading the Word, about finding a prayer partner, being accountable to somebody. And these are some of the basic things that can help us grow as disciples. Are we finding these things difficult to do? Why is that if we do? And you know, Scripture says we mustn't make excuses. And you say, look, Doug, hang on a second, where is that in the Bible? And you're right to say that. But before I show you where that Scripture is, let's just keep our focus here on one thing here. Actually, we don't so much come up with excuses, as we actually just value something more than Jesus. So let's look at some of these excuses. You see, Jesus talks about it in verse 21. So another of his disciples says here, in the same text, Lord, first let me return home and bury my father. There's the excuse. And the value. That's what he's valued. But Jesus told him, follow me now. Let the spiritually dead bury their own dead. You see, on the face of it, to us, I reckon it sounds like a pretty good reason why he should go and do this. But Jesus knew his heart. And also, if you look at this thing technically, the father wasn't dead yet. Why? He would have been busy preparing for funeral arrangements. So he was going home to be with his father before he died. He might well have known that he was on his deathbed, so there was not long to go. We don't quite know why he wanted to go be with his father. It could be that he was the firstborn and he was going to inherit. He didn't want to lose his inheritance. It could be he felt guilt. He said, you know, I haven't spent a lot of time with my dad. I better go and spend some time before he dies. Look at what's driving this person's behavior. Look at what he values. Look at what's really going on there. And Jesus knew his heart. And he knows our heart every time we make an excuse or put something else ahead of Jesus. And Jesus' words are amazing. And I really grappled with this particular wording here because I've never really understood this. It said, let the spiritually dead, that sentence, go and bury their dead. The spiritually dead, that word dead had a lot of meaning. And if you look at some scriptures that will help us understand that was, the Jews used this word dead to mean that they were indifferent to something. It didn't matter. So you look at Romans 7 verse 4, and I'll read it for you. You don't have to look it up. So, my dear brothers and sisters, this is the point. You died to the power of the law. You might remember that scripture. You died to the power of the law. That means the law has no hold over you. Okay? Another scripture there. Romans 6 verse 11. So you also should consider yourselves to be dead to the power of sin and alive to God through Christ. Also, this means that sin and law has no hold over you. Okay, so an important phrase that Jesus was using here. So Jesus was saying, the spiritually dead are those who are indifferent to Christ. They don't value that relationship with Christ the way we do. So he's saying, let the physically dead, those who are not spiritually alive in Christ, let them go and bury the dead. What is that? That is less important than being alive in Christ. So it's more important to do the things of the kingdom now than to go and worry about those spiritually dead things. And he was challenging this disciple directly as to what was more important. The things of the kingdom were more important. And he says there, follow me now. What do you and I value more than following Jesus? What's getting in the way of following Jesus wholeheartedly? Is anything getting in the way? So my prayer this morning is that the Holy Spirit speaks to you as we reflect on this. Because for each of us it might be different. It might be small, it might be big. That's not what Jesus is looking at. But he knows our heart. And if you're truly prepared to follow Jesus wholeheartedly, I'm asking you, I'm pleading with you, decide today to put in place one simple lifestyle habit. Just go and find a prayer partner. I know some of you have. And I know these people testify to how wonderful it is. Find a prayer partner and watch it change your life.